Slow lane. 3 strokes from the bunting to the end of the lane is the cue for a change of direction, the motivation for a little grace. Certainly not effortless. An aspiring will towards fluidity pushes me to emulate those bodies sharing the same water. We're all in this pool together, at different speeds, all claimed by the same laws of physics that distort weight. We're all in this pool apart, organized by speed and skill in rows of clockwise transit. 2 lanes away, Fabi turns their hand into a fin, and their whole body is a cloud of starlings that are fish traversing the pool sky. And I am too a starling cloudfish for a few seconds, as we trade smiles and silly faces. Slow lane swimmers, we swim to feel the distortion of gravity and weight on our bodies, the relief, the cradle of water claiming us to her pool sky, where float is an iteration of flight, and limbs are force fields. I'm floating on my back, eyes on the ceiling. The light that bounces on the water back up to the skylight is shape-shifting light. Why would anyone want to look ahead instead of above, I wonder, until the splash of speed urges me to move on. I don't understand the mechanics of matter, or how the stone of a stiff body becomes a diffuse gliding creature. Certainly not effortless, yet somehow with less effort. Why seek to understand what is felt? How pointless. Under the weight of water, I'm light, a slow lane swimmer true to the spirit of getting by with minimum skill and considerable effort, like writing a poem across the deep end with haste, tired movements towards a buoy of respite, as the muscle lets the body feel the specificity of it as a part of a whole, a gentle protest, if there ever was such, outside the implicit camaraderie between parts. And by muscle, I mean the whole muscle that is a body turned force field in movement and sinking matter in stillness, a pained lump body swimming for relief through the tension that triumphs over sinking. Okay, so I wrote this poem a while ago as an antidote for an exhibition that made me very angry. And it was a Francis Up Richard exhibition at the Barbican Curve. And this is my antidote for that exhibition, if you ever saw it. It's called Mutable Fire Centaur. Any corridor can stretch into a hole if the lighting is right, if the gravity of the building, its purpose, or even the assigned nomenclature is bound by the appropriate configuration of power strands to imbue any space with enough authority. Shift the corridor into a gallery and make a myth inside a myth. Make a space outside of space and suspend belief and value in a temporary ontological zone. That is temporary if you have the skill to hold the fractal awareness of the myth-making patterns within the myths you traverse and the myths you become. In other words, if you know how to weave. Upon the weft, a string of bog-rescued leathery creatures, centaurs, pony-sized and partially flat, neatly resting on slanted slabs of not quite marble. A mythical configuration, limbs gracefully curved in dance gestures, no arrow in sight to match the astrological season, but an arrangement of vessels punctured with features, revealing the aim is to contain, and we can discard all other pretense. I am too centaur moon with no arrow, a small sketch of leathery beast. Here my wild rubber filly whiny, my mythical affliction, my fractal myth filiation, the fiber of this warp. Inomosho, my myth sibling savior, appears to me in the corridor hall of relics, and floats across the contemporary art myth-making machine. Materia is also fact. Rubber is wild blood fact under the soft scab of time and deflected narrative. The same blood as gold and the same blood as oil, circulating collapsed timelines through the same veins of the same sacred soil. You pillage. You defile materia. Caucho, oro, petróleo, agua. You defile myth in your myth-making post-truth of ontologies, birthing containers for myths adjunct to myths, neatly camouflaged in material realities upheld by the same scaffold. Your African mask modernism, your relative exceptionalism, your suspense of disbelief in the name of aesthetics, resting on bespoke candy-color, mattified fake marble. Material imitating materia. I am wounded centaur myth, sketch of fossilized beast, braying the affliction of my rubber scars. I denounce my long-lost gushing gold, excreting from the wound of lost-named mothers, no-name myth mothers. Inomosho's mother is also my mother, and I suck her myth milk for strength to see these clots of mine and grow a helmsman for this compass. Oracular tissue. They pulled a lump out of my abdomen and called it surplus. I called it jewel. An overflowing desire to ooze, attach, occupy, to claim. My pathology is also my excellence. Through and through, to the pattern of molecular formations, my tissues set the root of my will. Don't get me wrong, as they claim cavities, they demand total subjugation. My tissues, double-bind viscera. Most days I would like to avoid the body as much as I would like to avoid gender. And I do achieve it if I stay at the threshold. There, my body is no body, but a being inwardly spilling, oracular, triumphant in its unique configuration, ecstatic in its surrender to itself. Beyond any spectrum, I am no body. I am a sequence of actions. Sleep, eat, fuck, ache, soothe, expel, listen, touch, taste. I cry in the fact of tremor. If I meet another, I remain intact, ecstatic in the certainty of pain, chaos reconfigured. Okay, this is still in draft because I just wrote it Sunday. And its working title is Cardstream Dreamscape. You are wrapped up in hay and ready to burn, to pump and puncture, flow and cut, live and die. Your spine, primed for action and unfolding. Your spine and your mirror spine, stretching towards your father, wearing a goat and offering you water. You blink. You stand in a clearing enclosed by 4 oak trees. A dimly lit path, only a crescent moon through a blanket of cloud and a handful of intermittent stars. You walk, one foot on instinct and the other on impulse, and your whole body floated crisp through your veins by a thumping so hard your teeth clash loose, bone beads and thick spit wave your mouth. 3 crows caw above you. You can't see them, but you feel their movement on your skin. Their flight reminds you to breathe, and as you tilt your head up, searching for moisture in the air, you fall into a hole as big as a room, a box with solid clay walls. You didn't even feel yourself falling though, as if falling was now your body's default state. No sinking heart, no disorientation, no pain. Impassive after chewing your teeth, as if tasting your bone turned you stiff. Not a hint of surprise when you turn to face your father's head sticking out of a bear's mouth. You blink and you flash back to a scene in a bad American film about a white man who longs to be wild. You blink, but this is your father, and he has a proud grin, as if the bear had grown out of him. You're not attempting to make sense. You just blink slowly and breathe. When you open your eyes again, you're still in the hole, but there's now a warm light, and your father is wearing a suit 5 sizes too big and offering you a loan agreement. You want to laugh, but you actually can't. What you are is hungry, sad, and tired, and wishing there was somewhere soft to curl up and wait this out, but you can't rest. The morphing fathers have woken up your rage. You regress, you adolesce. Take your hands to your chest to appease your deviant seed. You take the money. For what it's worth, you say out loud. Not for your love, but for my muscles, for my bones, for my nerves, for who I was when I longed to fly beyond the cruel pairing of ruthless and cunning, out of the woods and into the river, out on another path. And this is a poem in 3 parts about the astrological events of December 2019 and January 2020. Between eclipses, to not know any better than to be the whiplash body that swallows the storm and fails to endure the pressure against the throat, to burst in moan through strung out tendons, uncontainable wind force blended with breath, gales/flesh, to become the eye of a deep secret self that stares back at their only body, frozen in the still holding of raw tendrils, to shapeshift through barriers and to contort thirst again, to swallow dry, to have been standing in fear, frozen for far too long in the stasis of righteous silence. Full moon in Cancer. We tear seams into each other to shatter the pretense of a badly drawn shield. Torn atmospheres through torn time, circling through the legions that possess our faces. We spiral, commanded by pulsing flesh and organ, piercing through membranes, muscles, fluids, and bones. Deeper, harder, piercing through scar tissue, timeline after timeline, through the fester of defunct selves, their grip, their costumes. We shed from the inside out, turning into plasma, igniting cells, molecules, atoms, unbound. New moon in Aquarius. Unbeknownst and trembling around the stone of fear on the edge of possibility, I give you my yes, and watch you unfurl tender ribbons from your limbs and fingers. Yes, to the curve of your neck and the beak of your hairline, circling around the void of our eyes. Magnetize hands, survey, grab and press. This is the you that I can touch, the you I meet, I hold, I want. You, all, in the haze of depth and expansion. My love, shivering anew, gasping for breath and warmth, reaches for your body, your voice, the song you sing in recognition, a vessel we forge as the melody holds us. And I'm going to end with a love poem. Rimac. Rimac is the name of a river, the river of the city in which I was born. There's an underground river that gilds their bed in a low hum from your dream to mine. I'll wake to lick pebbles of your image before they tumble and erode. By noon, there are no murmuring waters. It is dry in the absence of shadow. At sunset, a whisper steers behind quiet salivation, forecasting. It's midnight when I hold your words in my mouth, as the currents gild again, lolling, lolling. Thank you.